3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very, very special episode of Real Hospitality Live. I have Grant Cardone, the one, the only, and the very dressed up today for Halloween, our special episode. Grant, thanks a million for coming.
Hey, you got it. And I don't do a lot of dressing up. So once a year, my wife, she's been the only one that's ever figured out how to get me to do this. And so once a year I submit and I do the whole deal.
This is the best. Thanks again. Of course, Grant Cardone needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce you anyway. Grant is the New York Times bestselling author, is the top sales trainer on the globe, father, husband, business mogul, real estate investor. And of course, you're wondering, why is he on Real Hospitality Live? Well, because of his good heart, and I took him up on something that I heard him say, where if you want help with your business or mentoring, ask. I asked. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is the one and only Grant Cardone.
Yeah, thank you again for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. Specifically, the reason why I wanted to bring you on, because I mean, obviously, our program is a little bit niche based, and we talk about hospitality things, we talk about business and entrepreneurship, but specifically, I wanted to talk to you about sales training, which, of course, you're the man. We, in our industry, specifically in restaurants, servers themselves and managers don't necessarily see themselves as salespeople, and managers don't necessarily see themselves as sales trainers.
Yeah, no, and the restaurateur doesn't, the chef doesn't, the waiter doesn't, the server doesn't. Nobody wants to think that they're selling anything. But if you look at the financial statement of a restaurant, it starts with one thing: sales. What is the income, the revenue? How many dishes did I sell? How many meals did I sell? How many desserts did I sell? The restaurant business, there can't be a harder business than the hospitality space. Hotels, restaurants, bars, clubs. I was talking to John Taffer about this. Just cannot be anything more difficult. But let's face it, the business, regardless of what business you're in, if you're in it, it's tough. And it's always going to be tough if people are focused on the wrong thing in the business.
Right.
I can always get service right. The question is, can I get the revenue right?
Well, and the reason, and I mean, a part of my thought process in asking you was to talk about this sales training itself. I mean, I specifically remember, I can't remember if it was on an audio book version of Be Obsessed or 10X Rule, which I unabashedly have my copy, where you said, you know what, if I'm going out for dinner and I sit down and the guy doesn't offer me anything, then I'm not buying anything else.
I'm not going to, I mean, unless he's convinced I should have this. And, you know, I've had waiters, servers say, Mr. Cardone, you have to get this. You got, like I know you're saying no, and I understand, but man, this bottle of wine, bro, is sick. It's ridiculous, and I got one left.
Right.
And the next thing you know, I'll be like, oh, okay, let's go. And that's how you run any business. It's not, you don't make customers happy because you serve them. You make them happy because you sell them. And I truly believe this. When I go to Prime 112 down here in Miami and I get great service, it's completely different than when I get ignored.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the higher the price of the offering, the more I expect.
Right.
So I would expect that in your business, sales training is probably the wrong word to talk to anybody about hospitality. I wouldn't even use it. I would drop it.
Okay.
As sales training. I would talk about business training. Okay. I would talk about revenue. I would talk about if the restaurant doesn't make any money, the waiters doesn't have a chance.
Right.
If the business is failing, if the restaurant is failing, the waitress, the bartender, the server, they're all doomed.
Right.
So that doesn't mean, by the way, that just because they're making a lot of money that everybody else is, but it does mean, for sure, 100% of the time, if a server's making a lot of money in a restaurant or a bar, it's because the bar is making a lot of money. You can't make a lot of money in a place that doesn't make money.
Well, that's true. These people are also commissioned salespeople. I mean, they're making minimum wage or less in most regions, and I think in from what I see is the managers don't get that they have a commissioned sales team before them, and they also don't know how to work with that. They don't know how they're timid about talking about bringing up upselling and suggestive selling. And servers don't think that they're commissioned salespeople until you sit them down and say, listen, your percentage of your commission is either going to be 10, 15, 20%, and you can increase your business income for your little business in your little section based on how well you know your products and how well you can sell them.
Yeah. I agree with that, but I think another step would be for the manager and the server and the waiter, et cetera. You can have that speech about your commission. Most people don't like the idea that you're going to get 70 or 80% of the waiters can be like, dude, hey, that's not what I'm doing here. I'm going to serve the table. I expect them to give me a tip. And even if you include the tip, which the industry's moving toward, let's just go ahead and have an inclusive, and we'll have everybody give it to us whether they want to or not. That's not the tip you want. You want the $300 meal and the $300 tip. You're never going to put 100% tip on a card, but you can earn them. Every waiter has. Every waiter. I know guys that have earned 400 and 500% tips.
Right.
So that goes back to the restaurant. The more you have no chance of making big money in a restaurant that makes no money, or a bar. You have no chance of making big money if the value of the offers, whether it's the wine or the eatery, is inexpensive. And so now that it also doesn't mean that you're going to make a bunch of money just because you're like, okay, I'm a commission, I'm going to hustle this thing. You need a target. Every person needs a target. Every division, department needs a target. That target has to become, this is what the 10X rule is about. That target has to become, forget commissions. The target, regardless of whether you have, you get paid extra or not, everybody needs a target. The guy picking up trash in your neighborhood has a target. The bellman needs a target. The waiter needs a target. The busboy needs a target. And without a target that is demanded on, maybe not even reasonable, an unreasonable target that is demanded on will always get greater results.
What are your thoughts on, I mean, as we know, and as you said, I mean, the restaurant business is tough. All businesses are tough. What advice do you have for somebody who's been grinding it out and is just kind of out of ideas and kind of lost focus?
No, targets aren't interesting. People are setting goals. People are setting goals that don't change their lives. A 15% gratuity is not going to change anybody's life.
Right.
You do $10,000 worth of food that night, 15%. You get 15% of 10,000. That's what, $150. Sure. You got to split it with a bellman, a waiter, and the greeter. So you walk away with half of that, $75. You do that 3 times, your life didn't get changed.
Right. What about the operator?
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So you can buy a lamp.
Yeah.
Go to the bar. Okay. And the crazy thing is the waiters and the waitresses and the bellmen, the busmen, the valet guys, people in hospitality are the most generous people there are. So as soon as they get $75, they just give it away to somebody else. And the point of that is, look, you need big targets. Rather than $10,000 targets, you got to have, okay, 10,000, I'm going to do that 20 days in a row. My target's now 200 grand. Hey, restaurant, if I hit that, double me up.
Right.
$75, 15 times or 20 times becomes, what is that? $1,500. Hit me with the double if I hold it. Now 1,500 is $3,000. $3,000, I'm not buying a lamp anymore. I'm like, okay, now I'm saving a little bit of money.
Right.
And if I do that every month, I save $30,000 a year more than I saved the year before. So what I tell people is like, look, I work with guys that have nothing, like you said, why I'm doing this show. I work with people that have nothing. I work with billion-dollar companies.
Right.
It's the score. Where's the score at? What do I get in the NFL? Hey, get me this many interceptions, dude. I'm gonna buy you a Richard Mille watch. Those kind of bonuses are on the board. Right. Give me this many tackles. Give me 2 more tackles than anybody else in the league, and I'm going to get you $1 million bonus.
Right.
So the bonus, the extra, the foie gras.
Right.
that 1994 bottle of, that I get to take home, that needs to be significant enough, not just, oh, you get a bottle of wine. I get something stupid, something I don't even want to open. It's so special.
Right. That's and again, it's 10xing everything.
Yeah, it's thinking bigger. It's thinking bigger than just, okay, I got to wipe the bar down. Who's going to get excited about that?
Yeah.
I got to clean the ashtrays out.
Right.
I got to show up on time.
I think in a lot of cases, the operators are kind of beside themselves too. I mean, we talk about the servers, we talk about the support staff. Again, sometimes the operators get into a headspace too, where they're not hitting big enough goals, and they're not, and they're not getting those results too. And it's probably, you're probably going to give me the same answer. I mean, they themselves have got to look at these targets too.
They're in the restaurant business too much. They hang around restaurants too much. Oh, yeah. You need to hang around people that are killers.
Yeah.
And dreamers. Not dream killers. Killers and dreamers. Yeah. And because you hang around the restaurant, the hospitality people, you're going to hear, oh, the economy sucks. This is bad. Too many restaurants. Nobody's got money. Guy down the street cut his price, blah, blah, blah. I don't need to hear it. I don't even want to hear it. Even if it's true, I don't want to hear it. I just want to hear what the killers are doing.
Absolutely.
And look at how many restaurants have some special, ridiculous entree or dessert.
Right.
And the client is like, oh my God, you make the best coconut pie in the world. Like this stuff, every time I come here, nobody says, hey, why don't you take 2 more slices home with you?
Right.
Okay, immediate extra $40.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And they're talking about you the next day. What about somebody calling the next day and saying, hey man, did you chop into that yet? The restaurant doesn't even have payroll to do that.
No.
What if you took your top, what if you took your top 5 visitors each night, 5 tables, 5 bars, whatever, and just called them the next day and say, really appreciate having you here last night?
They'd be blown away. That's not the type that's not the type of follow-up service that happens within the industry, and that
and therein lies the opportunity.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely.
Because it can't just be about good food and good drinks and good times.
No, no.
And this is the problem with all these shows, by the way, on TV.
Yeah.
They all suggest that if you just fix the place up, you're going to do great.
Right. Repaint it, change the menu.
Spending money on the place is not going to change the operations of the place long term.
Right.
It should look good.
It should always look good. Anyway.
Yeah, it should. It should. I mean, those things can be fixed, but that's just TV.
Yeah.
It's like what's going on. What's going on in day-to-day operations with the best clients? I'm selling an event right now for 11. I'm in the hospitality business, right?
Absolutely.
I own 6,500 apartments. I got the happier the apartment renter is, the tenant,
right?
The better chance I got of having them renew. There's plenty of competition.
I mean, 10X conference. You're coming to Canada, to Toronto on November 9th as well.
Yeah. So we do our big conference once a year. It's going to be 11,000 people there. People can go to other conferences. I'm holding it in Vegas. They can do a lot of other things in Vegas.
Oh yeah.
They can go to strip joints. I'm not going to strip. There's competition. I have hospitality. So I'm like, I look at my list. I think I walked in here with it, actually. I walked in a list. I said, I want a list of every person. I must have left it in Ryan's office. I said, I want a list of everybody that bought a seat for me last year. Diamond, Premier, VIP.
Right.
Print the list. I didn't say give it to somebody else. Give me the list.
Yeah.
I'm the owner.
Of course.
And then I'm going to craft a message for each one of those people, both a text message, a phone message, and a voicemail, and an email. So there'll be 4 messages that go out to make sure each one of those people get that communication from me. Yeah, you see? So I said, give me this.
Yeah.
Diamond, Premier, there's a Premier seats and the VIP seats. So I'm going to figure out to craft a message of each of these people. And people are like, I don't have time to do that. It's because you're not committed to your business. When you're committed.
There it is.
When you're committed, dude, your kitchen catches on fire right now. I guarantee you'd be committed to putting it
out. Absolutely.
In that moment, you created time because you didn't have that on your budget for time today. I'm going to put a fire out. So I didn't know I had this today. I forgot about Halloween. We added Halloween, and I'm doing this.
Right.
So when you're committed, you create time.
Absolutely. The industry also has. I mean, we've got reservation systems and all of these things in there. We have contacts. We have people's phone numbers. We have their emails. Just people aren't committed to following up and getting that level of customer service.
Yeah, and again, I think when I go into companies, whether it's hospitality or whether it's healthcare or it's automotive, construction, real estate, it's always the same. The sector says we're different. Right. We're going to do $40 million this year on e-commerce.
Right.
With people we never meet. We're not sending them this junk.
Right.
Right. We're doing a digital transaction. They're buying something from me. We did $300 million in investments raised in the last 30 months. $306 million.
Mind-boggling numbers, though.
Mind-boggling. There is no key lime pie exchanged.
Right.
So how do I transact? How do I quit saying this is different? It's not different.
Right.
Every penny that I make this year, whether it's e-commerce, delivering a real service, providing somebody with a place to live, or raising money, it involves people.
Right.
The restaurant, the bar, the real estate business, it involves people. It's about connecting people. So business owners need to quit saying our business is different and look for how is it similar.
Right. Well, and that's exactly it. I mean, I remember reading and listening to you talking about going from the transition from selling cars and then going in and transitioning and going into other businesses and carrying that same toolkit where you're going to go in and those transferable skills are there because it's working with and talking to people.
Yeah.
And having that transparency about, hey, this is what works. How
do I get a customer? How do I get a customer in the shortest period of time possible to transact with the company and then retransact and then transact again? Because the ultimate way to customer satisfaction is repeat business.
Right.
It is not satisfy the customer and then get them back in.
Right.
It's get them back in and satisfy them. Because if you satisfy a guy one time and he never comes back, guess what? You don't have repeat business no matter how happy he was.
Right.
My job is, if I'm in Miami and you're visiting from Philadelphia and you come down here, my job is to get you in, transact with you, and get you to leave Philadelphia and come back and do business with me again.
Right.
It's not to wait for you to come back again. It's how do I get you to come back again and take responsibility for that transaction. Right. Like, why am I so good that he would actually want to do his next vacation? This happens. People do pick where they're going because of a restaurant or a bar.
Yeah.
Because the experience was so good. I remember I was in St. Bart's. And we went to St. Bart's. We had so much fun in St. Bart's. First time we were there, we loved it. Second time, we just like over the moon loved it. And stayed at a private house the second time,
right,
but used Eden Rock the whole time we were there.
yeah,
We were planning the trip back. We were coming back. We had so much fun there. Every day we had fun. And we spent shitloads of money.
right.
The more money we spent, the more fun we had. And we had so much fun. We booked a convention back there to St. Bart's.
Awesome.
A mastermind, booked out the entire Eden Rock. And then it got hit by the hurricane. The point of that story, though, is when you spend money repeatedly in a place, it reinforces your idea that you're happy there.
Right.
And a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to lower my prices. I'm going to give people discounts. I'm going to put them on a coupon card. I'm going to give them a membership. They're going to collect points. Everybody's tried all this bullshit. It doesn't make people great customers. It just makes them resent purchase.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna buy from them because I got some points there.
Right.
Which fine, you can use that. There's no reason, but the ultimate way, Apple's the perfect example of a company that knows how to saturate for customer satisfaction.
Oh yeah.
You know, they just keep selling you new products to the point to where you're like, I think I love this because it's everywhere I look.
Absolutely. And speaking of Apple, I just saw a video that you posted sometime in the last 72 hours or something like that, I think, and we were talking about Apple's been in business for 30 years.
Yeah. Most of it was awful.
Right. And it's true until the last 10 years, basically, where it's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to speak to your experience and to hammer back. I mean, where this is all coming from. I mean, this is your success comes from having, repeat and work and learn. And I mean, now you're an international superstar. There's no bigger person in social media or in sales training or in events than you now. But it took 30 years to get there. Same thing, right? And now people can learn from these experiences and from again, like you said, from examples, not just you, Grant, but also from Apple, from Amazon, like you were talking about, right?
Yeah, that's who people should be studying those people.
Yeah.
Like the little bit of success that I'm having is great and everything, but like those guys, they built massive, I have so much respect for these big companies that figure out how to build out these massive pipelines and deliver globally. I know how hard it is to hold 170 employees together and, one location and that payroll and tens of thousands of customers. These guys have millions of customers.
Oh yeah.
And probably got more locations than I mean, I don't know, but the point is that's who we should be studying, not some guy that figured out how to make $1 million staying home with 8 interns.
Right. I have kind of a sidetrack question, which has to do with hospitality and restaurants, but it also I wanted to ask you specifically. It's a kind of a real estate thing where I know that you're invested in apartments. You absolutely that's your thing, and it's what you recommend. What are your thoughts on commercial property? And the reason why I bring this up is because Ray Kroc made a shitload of money on basically buying the land and then having McDonald's franchisees.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a tenant, right? He knew he could look forward into the future and say, I have a tenant built into this model. That 40 years ago, if you were going to have hamburgers, you needed a location.
Yeah,
because people had cars and they would stop and get their food. I think going forward that changes with Uber Eats.
Oh yeah.
So I see today where these shopping centers will have, they'll have 10,000 square feet, no seating area. It won't be any drive-through either. Right. It'll be all pickup and delivery.
Yeah.
So it'll be 10,000 square feet. There'll be a Burger King, a McDonald's, Popeyes, Olive Tree, PF Chang's, all under one roof, sharing rent from this one place.
Yeah.
There will be no seating for anybody. And you'll call this place and order, give me this out of PF, give me that out of McDonald's, give me that out of Popeyes. One order goes out from one pickup and goes straight to my house. That would destroy commercial real estate in America.
Yeah.
Because what would happen is McDonald's would then be able to, or not necessarily. I mean, look, if we add drones to this possibility, then it all changes.
And that's coming.
And then add to that concept the fact that AMC just agreed to go into the streaming business. So AMC theaters, when they start streaming, you're gonna final ice pick to the eyeballs of shopping centers.
Yeah.
So if you kill the restaurants in addition to the theater, it's all over, man.
Yeah. The retail's hurting as it is.
Yeah, and technology is going to continue to destroy those businesses, and those businesses consume commercial real estate and take up space. This would create all kind of other problems because it would become blight, be in black neighborhoods, right? It would be dark retail,
right?
Which would not be good for anyone.
Well, we have ghost kitchens and dark kitchens already that are coming out, and exactly what you're talking about, where rather than having a storefront where you have to pay higher rent, pay for additional services and utilities and whatnot. I mean,
for customers to come bitch anyway.
Say again?
For customers to come bitch about your service.
Right.
Because the waiter's got a resentment because I'm making so much money and they don't want to work because they don't make any money anyway. And we're back to this earlier problem, right? Like, because I'm working in a restaurant that doesn't make any money. Dude, the restaurant bleeds. What's the chance you're going to make money? None, zero.
Right.
So how do I keep a good chef if the place is bleeding out?
Right.
And we ordered for the World Series the other night. We ordered from PF Chang's through some app. The food didn't get there. The app's going to have to eat like $400 worth of food. We didn't get there. I ended up making the food myself and say, basically, restaurants are not dependable.
That's not good.
This is already a low margin business.
Oh, yeah.
If it's PF Chang's in that case.
Yeah. Well, I mean, lower margin than people like to let on too. A lot of people know what their margin is. It's so low.
Yeah.
Favorite place to eat? You've been around the world, and I've watched you go around the world.
Yeah.
Where's your favorite spot?
Let's see. My favorite spot to eat, man, is where we have good people with us.
Yeah.
Mostly, it's where it's about who am I having dinner with?
Right.
Yeah. The wine is only as good as the people you're hanging out with. You could buy the best wine in the world. You could buy a $5,000 bottle of wine. I've had expensive wine that was terrible because the company was.
Right. Fair enough.
So, man, I've eaten stuff off the side of the road that I liked because the company was good.
Yeah.
But I like eating at home, man. I love eating at home too. So, and I like eating at places where I'm recognized.
Oh, yeah.
I like it when the owner takes the time to come out and say hello.
Right. Absolutely.
Easy thing for everybody to do, by the way. They don't have to just do it to me. They could do it to everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Have a manager come out and actually discuss the experience with you.
I mean, a smart thing to do would be to when somebody books a reservation, maybe look them up socially.
Yep.
Grant Cardone books a reservation. Once you look me up online, I'm not going to be very hard to find. You might want to pay attention to me when I get there. I have more followers than the restaurant does.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it all comes back to putting in the extra effort.
Yeah. Right. Well, the extra effort will come from the commitment.
Yeah.
It's not really about trying harder. It's about you got to find your commitment. If you find the commitment, the effort will be there.
That's good advice for every business owner, especially in our industry, because and again, like you say, I mean, in the hospitality industry, you listen to The economy's bad. Everybody's got a problem. The minimum wage just went up. Expenses. But and of course we say, well, but we can't put the price up any higher, or we can't afford more staff. Well, these are things that don't cost any more money.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't mentioned one thing that costs money.
Not a thing. Exactly. So everybody watching, all the hospitality folk, see. Grant, thanks so much for taking the time today. Again, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate it. And I want to take this opportunity to not just thank you for coming on the show, but in April of this year, I was teaching from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. in Vancouver, hospitality and business. I read this, started the show, quit my job, moved my family from Vancouver to Calgary, started fresh, and you and Elena's enthusiasm, your love of people, your sharing of knowledge has changed my family's life. And
wow.
I wanted the opportunity, if nothing else today, to say thank you personally.
Man, brother, thank you so much. Thank you for making that shift. And Jason, I just hope you keep your head down, stay focused, and anything I can do to help you going forward, please let me know, all right?
Absolutely. Thank you again. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Grant Cardone.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks. Take care. Have a great day. I know you're busy.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.